All right, so I'm gonna start putting this thing back together. I haven't touched this thing in, I think, over close to a year or something. It's, I don't even know where to start, honestly, but I gotta connect the front clip. I gotta bolt it in, put the hood on. I gotta put the dash on. I have the seat, I'll bolt that in. I was in the process of replacing the floor pans. They're just kind of like, that one's, I think, almost done, but this one's just like tacked in. And then for the back, I need to get wheel spacers because I tried putting the ped on and the wheels hit the tubs. So I got to kick these out with like, I think like 1 inch spacers will work, and then I can put the bed on. I hate coming back to an abandoned project. It's like the hardest part is just starting. But then once you build momentum, you're like, all right, I remember doing this, this, and that. But like going back to it after like almost a year of not doing anything is tough. So my dash is somewhere here, supposedly. I'm gonna turn it around and see where all the mounting points are and see if I can find the screws or the bolts. Nah, I'm cooked. This is how long it's been. Like the bags that I labeled disintegrated. That sucks. Oh, okay. I did these floor pans, I'm pretty sure when I was like, I think 17 or 18. I did it with the flux core welder. This is the first time me doing it. It came out pretty good. The only spot I messed up on was right there. It has like a big divot here, but that's because the metal was too tight and they kind of just like were pushing up against each other, and they just curved down. But I think I'm gonna finish this. I got a MIG welder now with gas, and that's so much better for doing like body panels. So much easier, way better. So I think I'm gonna finish this floor pan. So I can't put the seat in yet. I first have to do this. And then the dash is just on there. I mean, I couldn't find any of the bolts. I'll keep looking, but I mean, for now, it's just on there, I guess. The gap looks big, but when you go underneath and you push it, it kind of closes. It kind of closes down. So yeah. Did these was originally so someone welded like a piece of plate over the original one that was rusted. So what people usually do is they cut it out and they put the old one on top of the new one and trace it out and they cut it. But I couldn't do that because there's a plate over mine. So what I did was I just cut it out and I put the new one on top like this, and I put self tappers all around, and I got exactly where I wanted. And then from underneath, I just marked it like that. And then I cut it out bigger, and then I mocked it up, okay, and then I cut a little more, and I got it to where it fits. So as I did a Crown Vic front swap. I got these plates from eBay. I think they were 80 bucks for the pair, and they worked out fine. And those are the other brackets. I have to find the bolts that go in the core support that bolt up to the fender there, and then yeah, I think that's it. So I got the clip mounted up with one bolt on each side there, and then when I try to put the core support bolts, the holes didn't end up lining up. See that one? And then this one is right there. So if I move this, it moves, right? So I figured out that the front part of the frame is bent. I took some measurements from my dad's truck, and so there's a dowel right here on both sides. So from the dowel backwards, it's straight, which is the most important part, because that's what affects the suspension. But from this dowel forward, one of these horns or both of them are bent, which is not a big deal because that only determines where the front clip and the bumper end up being, you know. So it's not gonna affect the suspension. But I took some measurements. So on this straight truck, the way I measured it was, I measured from this wall here 2 inches out, just so I can get a reference line. And I think I made a mark right there. And then I took a measuring tape from this dowel all the way to that reference line. And on this truck that's straight, the measurement ended up being 34 1/4. And I did the same with mine, and it was 35. So this horn is 3/4 of an inch pushed out that way on mine. So I drew it out here just so it makes a little more sense. So this is the passenger side and the driver's side of the straight truck. And from that dowel right there to the reference mark next to the bumper, it was 34 1/4 on the straight truck, and on mine it's 35. So I need to move that horn 3/4 of an inch this way, which is this one. And the way I intend on doing that is, first I'm gonna cut this cross member out that I welded, and then I think I'm gonna make a pie cut. So here, or from the dowel here, so here, 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 and then bend it back and then just weld it back up together. Because I remember when I was doing the crown big swap on the original cross member, it had a big dent. I think on, I don't know if on the left side or right side, but it looked like they had run over something. And so I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. All right, so right now I'm gonna start working on my headliner on my truck. It currently looks like this. So that's what the roof of my truck looks like right now. I already have the headliner laid out. I'm getting ready to put the fabric on. This is the material I got on Amazon. It's this fabric and it has foam on the bottom. And I have the headliner laid out. I'm getting ready to put the adhesive on, which is this one. It's this right here. So by reading the directions, I found out that I don't just spray it and then put on the headliner immediately. I have to wait a couple minutes until it gets like tacky, and then I can roll on the headliner. Glue the backside. So when I started, I didn't leave enough space, so I only got this much like on one side. But ideally I should have done this like 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch to 1 inch all the way around. So it turned out pretty good for the most part. On some of the edges it has a bunch of creases, but that's just from the packaging. But once it's on the truck, I can just take that out with the steamer. So the headliner is being held in by these plastics and pieces of trim that go all around the roof. So, but before I put these in, I'm putting these fasteners in because mine were all broken. So they go here, here, there, and there. All right, so what I did was I put these side panels on first and then the headliner, which I don't recommend. I would have, ideally I would need like a second person just holding the headliner while someone else puts these side panels on, because I put it on first because I put the side panels on first and I had to like roll the headliner in order for it to fit, so it kind of creased up there. But I'm not too worried about it. that shit ended up looking like. It's a lot lighter than the original one. I think the original color is opal gray. It's more like this. It's like a bluish grayish. But I'm not worried about it. And then I'm just gonna take the steamer and take out some creases. And then I have a carpet cleaner, so I got a little bit dirty when I was installing it, so I'm gonna clean that out. So I got everything sanded down because I had like a light layer of surface rust. And before I start welding, there's a couple of areas where the metal overlap. So I'm gonna take the grinder with just a normal cutting disc. I'm just gonna cut it right here. It's gonna make a gap, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be better than it overlapping like that. So the metal's not overlapping now. So now I'm just gonna take a screwdriver. I'm stick it in, and the new panel's lower. So if I just stick it in here and I pry it up, I'm gonna go like that, and then touch it with my finger, and then I'm gonna tack it. I don't remember why there's this such of a big gap. I don't know if when I cut it, this metal pushed itself that way, or if I cut the panel too small, whatever. I haven't worked on this in like 2 years, so I don't know. But basically what I'm gonna do to get it back, to get that gap tight, is I'm gonna put self-tappers. So I already did it here. And I have this crowbar here, and I'm gonna force this metal out towards this side, and I don't know if you can see, but the gap closes. And then if I put the screwdriver here and I manipulate the new floor pan, it makes a tight gap right there. It's like, I don't know, maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna keep doing this all along. See, by doing that, I close the gap by a lot. So that was pretty much the hardest part about this now. It's all level. It's got a tight gap too. So now here comes the boring part, and I'm just gonna keep tacking until the whole thing is covered.